Okay, folks, we are back here at the Reg.A Money Show. I'm Ron Costa. I'm here with Miguel Dotris, and we are starting to talk about testing the waters. Miguel, let's get going with this conversation because this is a very important aspect of Regulation A.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Hey, Ron, so we talked about what we need to do to get a Reg.A started, and one of the components as we've broken down these components, and we continue to break down these components, is the testing the waters, Ron. You know, the Jobs Act set up a bunch of different things under the Reg.A, and when we got the Reg.A and we started to really tear this thing apart and we found out about Tier 1 and Tier 2 and how everything broke out, we really started to get excited because there were some things that were presented for the very first time that you could do that you weren't allowed to do before. And one of these things that everybody was very intrigued to see how it would work is this testing the waters. Because what does the testing the waters do? Necessarily allows you, it's exactly that, testing the waters. You can now go out and tell your group, advertise to your people, to your investors, your customers, your vendors, your friends, your family, all the people that you're associated with. All of a sudden you can start going out and testing the waters to see if the Reg.A is going to be truly the right move for you. And then how do you do this, Ron? Well, there are a lot of different ways, and there's a lot of different ways that people are testing right now. You know, there's a lot of secret formulas out there, that they call the secret recipes. There's a lot of them. But what I'm going to share with you and what I'm going to share with our listeners today is one of the ones that has been, time proven. One of the ones that, you can probably pick up any blog or any research that you can do, and you're probably gonna pick that up. If you guys want to get some specifics and some secret sauce, Ron and I would love to have a conversation with you off the air. We would share with you some of the techniques that we have found that are leading the industry, that are benchmarking the industry on how to really run a successful Testing the Waters program. But here essentially what the Testing the Waters allows you to do is to reach out to these people. How do you do that? Well, as we talked to you about the Twitter and the Facebook and the Instagram and the LinkedIn, all these connections, all these social media groups that you belong to have now become a great way for you to reach and to get your message out. And what is the message? The message is, I am going, or I am thinking, or I am contemplating an equity raise in my company. I am looking to give 5, 10, 15, 20, 30% of my equity in my company that I have built for the last 2-3 years. Or I have an idea for this great company. I have this idea for this great product, or I have this idea for this great tech, and I'm looking to raise $1 million, $2 million, $3 million, up to $50 million in a 12-month period, right? Because that's what Reg.A allows you to do, and you can do that with Reg.A and test the waters. And testing the waters, you're going to get an idea because people are going there and they're going to pledge their interest, Ron. What they're going to say is, look, I am interested so much in this stock that I'm willing to tell you right now today that I'd like to buy 10,000 shares at $3, or I'd like to buy $15, or they'll tell you exactly how much they're interested in, so that way you can decide, they can decide how much interest they show. Now, the one thing about the testing the waters I do have to let you guys know about is this. You have to notify everybody after you get qualified in the order that they showed interest. You got to go back to them and say, oh, you showed interest in our company. You were number 5. Here's our prospectus, just in the order that you came in. So that's the important feature. But Ron, we have so much more information. We'll put some information on the website. We'll put some more information for everybody. Tell them where they can get to our information so that way these guys can look us up. And if you guys got more questions, we'd love to talk to you about it. Just reach out to us in email, and Ron will go through all that information, and he'll give you all of our information on how you can get in contact us and where you can find more information on the Reg.A Money Show and specifically the entire process of Reg.A. Ron, let them know where they can find us.
Anyone can go to our website at regamoney.com. That's REGA money.com. We also have a site called IPO2Go, IPOTOGO.com. That's kind of like our news site. And if you go to that site, you want to type in, let's say, testing the waters into the search box. It'll come up with a whole bunch of information for that. So either way, you'll get to us that way. But Miguel, let me backtrack really quickly on something that you said before that I think is important. When you pledge in a testing the waters campaign, you're not actually giving anyone money right now, right? There's no exchange of money at that particular time. Is that right?
No, that's absolutely right. There is no exchange or consideration given. It actually is stated very clearly and concisely that this is just a form of interest. So you're not going to be paying any money whatsoever. All you're going to be doing is just saying, you know what, I think this is a great idea. You know, if I would give this idea $1,000, or I'd give this idea $5,000, or I'd give this idea $100,000. You're just pledging interest. No money is exchanged whatsoever, and no company that is doing this right, Ron, will take your money either, because that's illegal.
Oh, yes.
And take the money.
Right. But when they do a Form 1A registration, is there something on that form that indicates that there's a testing the waters program in process or to be done? I think you could do that after you file the form as well.
No. There's no form that you file specifically with the SEC. What you do is you make a disclosure. The disclosure goes onto the website, okay? So on your website, you would have an investor relation page or a tab on your website. The people would click that for more information in regards to our testing the water. See this site. So they would go to the site. Boom. On the site, there would be a thing, show your interest. At the bottom of that page, it says the disclaimer, okay, it's pre-written. Okay, it's a disclaimer that you can find on the SEC that lets you know what exactly you're doing on that website, and that you're only showing your interest in the website, and no investment is taking place, and no promise of investment is taking place either, because you could change your mind. You could pledge $10,000, and then 3 months later you change your mind, and they can't hold you to that.
And this is a big differentiation from a traditional IPO, which doesn't allow that. Is that right?
That is correct. There is no testing the water, you know.
All right, so when I look at testing the waters right now, after what we talked about, it would seem to me that this is a really good program that mostly every Reg.A issuer would want to kind of take advantage of. But there's also a lot of Reg.A guys that don't want to do this. They don't want to do the testing the waters. I'm not sure why. Do you have any idea why that might be? That they would just go without it?
Because I think some of the guys who won't want to do the testing the waters is because they have a very large group, Ron. They don't want to. They know that they have investors. They've already had some preliminary talks with some groups of people. They already know that they have a sure offering on their hands, and they don't want to take the 30 days or the 60 days that it'll take to do the offering, and then having to go through the process of, having to show the press release and everything else. Because once eventually you file with the SEC, you have to disclose that you did the testing the waters. You have to send them the press release and everything that you did up to that point. So a lot of these guys say, let's not worry about that. Let's just go directly to the SEC and get our offering on the street, and we'll worry about we'll take the money up front instead of worrying about it in the back end.
All right. So then, when the company's ready to actually do this, if I was a third person, let's say, that pledged money during a testing the waters phase, I would be the third person that they would contact for the actual, let's say, convergence of the money into a real account, right?
That's correct. So you would be the third person in line. So I'm the company president. I call you and say, hey, Ron, how are you? You showed interest in our Testing the Waters program. Here's our prospectus. You can find a link to our prospectus on the SEC website. Here's the link. Here's a hard copy of it. Hey, please review it. You said that you were interested in investing $5,000. Let me know if I can answer any other questions for you, and here's where to send your check. And that's it.
I'd like to do a follow-up show one of these days on the conversion rates on that. How many investors will, pledge money and then, will follow through with that? I don't know whether that number is high or low. It'd be interesting to find out.
Yeah, no, that's why I think our next guests are coming beyond. They'll give us some of their experience with the Reg.A and then with the Reg.A and the testing the water, so that way we can get a real feel for it, Ron.
Okay, yeah, that's great. I'm looking forward to that show. That'd be great. Sounds good, Miguel.
All right.
All right. Well, folks, there you have it. There's another show, Reg.A Money Show. That's what you're listening to with Ron Costa and Miguel Dotris. We are, again, at regamoney.com. Check that out. We're on the Spreaker. We are also on the Stitcher mobile platform. So any one of those, or just go online, type in Reg.A Podcast in Google, and follow us. Listen. We appreciate it so much. And we'll be back at you next week with another Reg.A Money Show. Thanks, everyone, for listening.